Hi there, guys. This is Introducing Emmy, and this is a new feature that I'd like to start doing from now on, a new type of video called Redline Tuesday. And what we're going to be doing is somebody will submit a piece of art. In this case, this is T2 from deviantart.com. Has submitted this drawing to me to let me go over it and redline it and make some suggestions or corrections. Don't worry, I'm really nice. So let's get started here. Now, anybody can do this, by the way. If you'd like to have me look at your art, that'd be awesome. If you'd like me to look at a comic page or panel, that'd be even cooler because I like comics. I'm just gonna put a transparent white transparent white layer over top, and then go over it in red. So one of the things that's probably the most noticeable about this character, she has really wide hips, and that was something Tichu asked me to leave, that she wanted her to have exaggerated hips. So we're just going to go through. I'm going to have to make this a little more so you can see it a little easier. There we go. Just going to go through and we're going to mark sort of some midlines. Now this drawing is actually pretty good, in my opinion. Gonna leave some big old hips. So that's pretty good. All right. Now, the pelvis does have some bones right there, and then there are these sort of like, I don't know what you'd call them, kind of like wings almost. There's a little piece here where the leg, I'm forgetting all my bone names right now. It's kind of like a butterfly shape, but that is where the like bone socket would be. So just might want to exaggerate that or enhance that somewhat. Belly button looks good. Alright. So let's work our way down here. I apologize if you can hear the gardeners working outside. So I'm getting the impression that she is supposed to be stepping forward slightly, so this knee is coming in front of this one a little bit. But here this sort of covering over the knee is quite a bit lower than this one is, even though it's in perspective. So we're just going to raise that slightly. Now this drawing already contains somewhat stylized anatomy, which is fine. So we're just gonna make sure everything looks pretty solid. That's good. The clavicles are in a pretty good position. Now this arm here would probably not be coming out like that. It would most likely be dropped. If she was turned more, you would then see it more like this. But because her torso is sort of facing in this direction, she would most likely be dropping the arm off to the side a little more. So it looks a little more natural. Which actually is kind of nice, in my opinion. Even though this negative space here was good, I think that looks pretty good. It kind of helps make her look more curvy and sleek. So let's get rid of that. All right. Now her legs are quite long compared to the rest of her body. Again, this is more like stylized anatomy. So this arm and this arm could actually be made longer, and that's up to the artist, to be honest. I'm just gonna see what it looks like. I'm just gonna use good old polygon tool. So you could drop that arm down a little ways more, and I think it would look all right, because it's a little more accurate to have it fall just a slightly lower than like the crotch. So I think that would look okay. You could fiddle with that some more if you wanted to. Again, I'm not saying this is set in stone. Depends on how realistic you want to go. Just make my lines a little bolder here. Now, you probably saw me do this. I dropped a plumb line down. You always want the neck and the head itself to be over, or at least sort of in the middle of where you're... I'm trying to think of a good way to describe this. These are things that you learn in art school, and sometimes they're almost unspoken. You just sort of pick them up. You want her to look balanced. You know, you don't want her leaning, you know, too far over one way or too far over this way. So we're just going to turn her feet ever so slightly, just to make sure that she's really solid on the ground here. Now, I did make her feet a little bit bigger, and I guess I could make them, especially this one, I could make a little bit smaller. Again, this is totally up to the artist. I'm probably going to say that 100 times in this video. I always hated in school, and still, I hate when I do something purposeful, like I make something look really strange. People are like, well, that looks weird, change it. And that's not what we're about. Just making suggestions, things to think about, things to help improve anatomy and balance to our drawings. So this little mark here, where that little V touches, I'm assuming is where the back of the head is, because it's not clear in the complete drawing. You can't see through her hair. So now the skull is sort of like a sphere with the sides flat, like they've been cut off. And then there's sort of like a mask in the front. I like to think of it as sort of like a paper mask with a V at the bottom. And then you can exaggerate any of these forms in any direction that you want. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to look. We're going to make some measurements, just see where things should be here. Again, I don't want to change things that could be considered intentional or part of the style. So her eye line would be there. Mouth would be here. So let's see here. So the biggest thing I'm noticing is right in here, this looks slightly twisted, and her one eye looks as though it's kind of coming off the face a little bit. This is often a problematic area for artists. So all you want to do is you just want to make sure, I'm going to go to a slightly thinner brush while I work on the face actually. Sorry about that. There we go. So what I like to do is I sort of draw these big raccoon eyes when I'm laying out the eye socket. That's actually what this represents. This is the eye socket. And then the eyeball will sort of be sitting in the bottom of that. Technically this would be the eye socket, I guess, and this would be the ridge of the bones. And I know that looks really silly, but this is... your sketches should look silly. You want to have all your markings in there so you know just what you're doing. And the ear would be right about there. The top of the ear should align with the brow line, and the bottom of the ear should align with the nose, approximately. In characters that are, I'm going to sort of teach you drawing a little bit here. In characters that are like elves, what you should do is draw what would be considered like a standard human ear, and then just add elf-like features, or, you know, crazy boning on the sides, or tissue or cartilage or whatever you like. But it's always good to start with sort of a basic human shape. Okie dokie. Now the brow is kind of, or I shouldn't say the brow, the forehead is kind of flat, so that's okay. So let me just clean this up a little bit. So I'm actually thinking the back of the skull could be a little smaller. Just a little bit. And maybe this is how she drew it originally. That's fine. So, and then you got your hair. So yeah, overall, this looks really good. The hand looks good. Actually, both hands look pretty good. I'm just sort of checking, making sure things measure up. So actually the hands, you could probably just move wherever you feel the corrections, whichever corrections you'd like to keep, where those should go. Now, I apologize if there's something specifically that either Chichu or you as the viewer would want me to go over and I'm not going over it. Just leave a comment below and say, hey, could you go over hands a little more? Could you go over how to draw feet a little more, or high heel shoes? And I will happily make another video just going into detail about that. So that's where her little feeties are. As always, if you'd like the file, the sketch file that I'm using to go over your work, just let me know. I will send it back to you from whence it came. So yeah, I think this actually looks really good. Just making sure she's got some ribs in there, some internal organs. That was that internal. All right, now let's real briefly go over the accessories that she's wearing, just show how those would all fit into perspective. So she has I'm assuming this is some kind of double bass guitar. Looking pretty sweet. The easiest way I've found to do props like this is to actually draw a box. The other way is to go into Google SketchUp and model it, and then take the rendered image into Photoshop and go over it. Not everybody wants to do that though, or has the sweet skills to do that. So I'm actually trying to picture this. So I'm using her drawing here to... So I can see that the perspective on the guitar is off somewhat. And I will try to explain how I can tell. Do the best I can. So this line here should be the same as this line here and to some degree here. It's pretty close, actually. Same with these. And then you would just gonna go in there and make sure these curves all match up. Again, to know for sure, you would probably want a photo reference or, again, use a model. This is actually pretty close. I'm not sure how she drew this, but yeah, that actually looks pretty good. And for the strap, you would actually want this to rest in the crook a little more. And actually having it pass over the front of the arm, I think would be okay. And you want these to be really, really straight to show the tension of her holding that guitar. If she's carrying it too far over, like over here, it kind of looks like a strap or a purse, and it doesn't carry that same sort of tension. So here, she's also wearing a necklace. That's a really easy thing to do. Just draw through your shape and just lay that necklace down against her body. Use your guidelines to make sure that that is hitting. Let me just turn down this layer a little tiny bit so you can see that a little easier. Just make sure that that is hitting that guideline. So that the middle of your little egg shape, your little necklace shape, it's right in the middle there. The earrings, same thing. This would be a circle in perspective. You can make it, you know me, I love drawing earrings on my characters, so you can make that as big or small as you want. I will sometimes draw them in a box just to make sure that the perspective is how I want it. Same thing with belts. Just draw right through. Really feel the shape of her waist. We used to do these things in college called pickle jar exercises where we would have to draw cylinders, you know, like that. And it was basically just to practice. Actually, it looks like a milk jug. Because a lot of times people will, when they're drawing something that has circular depth, instead what they'll do is they'll go right to the outline and they'll just be like, yeah, it's kind of like this, you know. Okay, so I'm probably not being very friendly there, but they would go around the outside. And you'd end up getting like really warped looking shapes. Whereas if you had just drawn through the shape a little bit there, lets you see better, it lets you really feel that object in the shapes. So you can do the same thing with accessories and belts and even body parts, you know, if you feel like, oh, how big's that thigh? You know, you can really go in there and feel that shape like that. If you've ever seen any of those like old Disney how to draw books, you know, you'd get you do the ball for the joint, and then you would do the shapes of the legs. It's that same sort of idea, except you're not breaking it down to you know, and then this is the thigh part, and this is the joint part. If you need to do that at the beginning, that's great. But at some point, you want to start moving past that, because sometimes it'll cause your characters to look really segmented. So overall, this is pretty good. I really like the anatomy, actually. It's kind of cool. Like, I like the way it's exaggerated. So let's just... I actually probably exaggerated her hips a little more than I needed to. I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget that. So I just gave her a little more bulk on her her torso. And again, this looks really good here. You might just want to do a little more shading or highlighting to really imply that this has a shape to it. Like right in here it gets a little foggy. You might just want to add some shines to it to like really help this stand out as a three-dimensional object, you know, like this, something like that. Sometimes this video is getting a little long, so I'm gonna try to keep this short. Shading is kind of a whole other tutorial to go over, but get in a little closer. So right here you have a line, which is implying a corner, like a hard side, but you have a soft shading, so it implies that this surface is somewhat curved, and so the line becomes a conflicting element. It becomes sort of a moot point. It leaves the viewer wondering, oh, is it a straight flat side, or is it a curved side? So for stuff that you want to remain really sharp and crisp, you want to just make sure that, you know, your lights and your darks meet at a really hard point. You want them to fight. You want a battle in your art between lights and darks if you want hard edges. So yeah, you would just want to go through there. Just make sure that things that are supposed to be soft or curved, I should say, if you want things to look curved, you want the shading to be soft. If you want them to look hard, you want the edges to meet in at a hard edge. I'm using the same words over and over, but I think you get what I'm saying. So yeah, that's basically the only thing. Also, you can apply more wrinkles on the shirt just by doing some triangles like that. I'm using one type of brush. You're gonna not be getting the complete smoothness that you could, but also right here, be careful, there's a little bit of lightness, which implies that the strap is sitting above the body somewhat. I don't know if that's what Tishu was intending, but just want to edge that up a little bit there, like that. Just little things like that. Just sort of eyeball and seeing if there's anything else. I'm sorry that I didn't go into more detail about facial or hand anatomy. That's sort of a whole tutorial on its own. So if you would like me to go into more detail about that, please leave a comment, and I'll try to go into some more detail about that. Thanks to Tichu for letting me use her drawing as an example. If you have a drawing or a comic page that you would like me to go over, I'll be happy to look at it for you, if you don't mind me recording it. Also, no nudity or over-the-top violence or anything. I actually don't have a problem with that kind of stuff. It's just because of YouTube policies, I can't go too vulgar. But I'll see what I can do. So leave a like, a fave, a subscribe for Tichu, and that would be great. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye!